How's it going? So, I got a box off camera here. You can't see it right now. In the mail today. Want to build some wood arrows for the new bow I got. You can watch the review of that bow in the previous video that I made. So, I ordered 24 shafts, and I want to make a video today to show how you can affordably build yourself some wood arrows. So, just to start here, I got these 24 shafts. These are Sherwood hunter grade shafts for, with shipping, $105. For 100 feathers, which is enough to do 24 plus a little extra. If you go to Laurel Mountain Outfitters with shipping, $50. For the nocks that I'm going to use, we're at $8.50. I didn't include shipping because I figured that would be in with the feathers because he sells both of them. Field points for 24, we got $22. The wipe-on polyurethane, which is more than enough to do 24. Honestly, probably 4, maybe even 5 dozen. This is a 16-ounce can. I paid $17 for this at my Ace Hardware. And the stain I'm going to use is this unicorn spit. It is a gel stain, super concentrated, kind of goes on like a paint. I paid $14 for this. Now there's tons of options for stain. I like this, and I'm actually going to buy a little more because of the way it works like a paint. I actually think that I can mix and match colors to make the color that I want. So it should be fun. I just bought a 99-cent bottle of acrylic paint to do like a little crest on it. I don't have a cresting machine or anything like that. So total for all of that, I come up with $216.50. Now that doesn't include the glues that you need, but it does include everything else. It also doesn't include the tools. Now one cool thing about wood arrows that I like is you don't need an arrow saw. I actually picked up this little flush cut saw from Harbor Freight for $7, and that's what I was using to cut the arrows. I actually like using it on wood arrows more than I like using my actual arrow saw. Another thing you'll want is a fletching jig. If you don't have a fletching jig already, you should go buy one anyways. If you want to build arrows in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of money. You can do repairs. You won't have to take them to a shop. You won't have to buy pre-fletched arrows at an inflated cost. You're just going to save a lot of money. Now you can also use fletch tape on wood arrows, and I had good results with that, but for these I am going to permanently glue it down. Now, once again, some of these products can be used and used and used. I could probably do 8 dozen with just this one stain. Like I said, probably 5 with this. By the time I cut those in half, I mean, we're now talking under $200. Now for carbon, I've figured out a cost for carbon and aluminum. For carbon, I went with the Hunters, the gold tip Hunters that is, and for the aluminum I went with the XX75 Autumn Oranges because that's the cheapest XX75 you can get right now. The carbons came to $249, and that's just the basic Hunter grade. The aluminums came to $209. So technically the aluminum's a little cheaper, but by the time you factor in how many dozen you can make with these products, you're actually cheaper with the wood arrows, which I thought was kind of crazy. Now, if you were to go and buy a dozen wood arrows online, I mean, I think the cheapest I've seen was $125 without shipping. You know, that's for a decent set, but nothing fancy. And I've seen them, you know, over $200 for a dozen. So at this point in time, you're pretty much saving yourself 50% from buying them on your own. And super easy process. Now the first thing that I want to do, because I bought 24, I want to actually just make them in groups of 6. Now when I bought my test kit from Sherwood, I bought the premium grade. So this time I bought the hunter grade just so I could check them out. A cool thing as well with Sherwood, I mean, one, they're super durable arrows. The ones I got were super straight, but they do, it look like flat rate shipping. So the more you buy, you still pay the same cost in shipping. He probably reaches a point with that, But that's why I bought 2 dozen instead of just 1 dozen. You know, I think I paid $14.95 or so for shipping. So that's $7 a dozen. Had I bought one, it would have been $7 more. I saved myself money in the long run. That's why we're here. So I got these 2 dozen. Now, because they are hunter grade, they're not supposed to be as nice as the premiums, but he does say that they are within 5 pounds of spine weight and 10 actual grains of weight. I already opened these once today, but these are 55-60 spine, 32 inches long. The first dozen I have here say they run from 370 to 380 grains, and the second dozen are 380 to 390. So really they should all be within 20 grains. I'm going to check that today. I'm probably not going to show you the whole process. Maybe I will, and I'll speed it up. But I want to see just how close they are to that, and I'm actually going to put these numbers on here. Heck, you know, they might be pretty close for 2 dozen. We'll find out. Now, I'm not saying that his scale and my scale match exactly. I've got one of these cheap Amazon. I've had this for probably 10 years. It's called the Smart Way 100, SM100. I call it my dope scale. I don't actually sell drugs or do drugs, but that's what I call it. And this thing comes in handy. I'm a huge arrow nerd, so I'm always weighing stuff. And for me, it's really fun to kind of decide what I want out of an arrow and try to piece it together with different arrows. I'll weigh everything. I used to have a book where I had all of the spines that I could possibly use and how much they weigh, how much the components weigh. I used to try to piece together what I needed. So I'm kind of a super nerd when it comes to that. Now, another thing you will need is a taper tool. It's like a pencil sharpener. You can buy those for $10. You can buy them for $50. I had one of the $10 ones I just bought at a local bow shop, and it's served me well. At least for that first dozen. I don't know, maybe it'll crap out this go around. Then I'll have to get one of the more expensive ones. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with the light arrows, and I'm going to get these weighed. I'm going to call the light ones Group A and the heavy ones Group B. Then I'm going to end up sorting them into groups of 6. And I'm going to write the weight really small on these and roll that off. So these should be 370 to 380. Go ahead and get this on. It's on grains. Everything is zeroed out. See where this first one is. I've got 374.9. I was weighed a second time, make sure I get the same reading. 374.7. Try one more time. 374.7. Put that on here. I'm going to erase this off later on. This is just so I can group. And at this point in time, I've already sped up this video and we're doing good. But this one's 371 point, nope, 372.1. So the first dozen's done. I'm going to go ahead and order these from lightest to heaviest, and then I'm going to weigh the other ones. I'm not going to bore you and make you watch that. So I'll be back with you here in just a moment. Alright, so it's getting kind of late now that I'm back with you. I ran all of these, and between both sets, I have a spread of 14.8 grains, which is pretty incredible, to be honest. Now, in set 1, I originally had a total spread of 6.7. And I had a almost right on 10, it was like 9.7 inch grain spread on the second group. Well, I noticed there was an overlap. One of the arrows in the other group was significantly lower. So I moved the heaviest shaft from group A over to group B, the heavier shaft, and the lightest shaft from group B over to group A. And that gave me a spread on group A of 6.5 grains, well inside the 10 grains, and 8.3, well inside the 10 grains. I then split these up into groups of 6. And the first set, and I'm going to build these up from lightest to heaviest. I don't know why, just keep it in order. But this set, the first set is a spread of 4.5 grains. The second set, only 1.9 grain difference. The third set, I have got 5.1 grains of difference. And the final set is 3.1. So everything is well within spec. I did notice that almost all of these are running about 5 grains lighter on the shaft than what the range said. So like the first set, it would have been, we'll say 365 to 375. Second group really was closer to like 373 to 483, or sorry, 373 to 383. So really they're a little bit lighter than advertised, and I almost wonder if that has to do with drying. Like maybe they weigh these pretty early, and as they sit there and wait, they dry a little bit more. That would make sense to me, because they're almost exactly 5 grains less than what was advertised. Overall, though, super happy with these so far. I rolled every arrow across the table. I mean, none of them were perfectly straight. You're not going to get a wood arrow perfectly straight, but all of them were super close. They all rolled without issue. Now, I'm obviously going to go to bed because it's like midnight here, but hopefully tomorrow I'll straighten these a little further. I do like to get them straight, a little straighter, and I'll show you how I do that tomorrow. Now, throughout this video, I'm only going to be building one set of 6 of these arrows. I only want 6 to start so that I'm not just throwing a bunch of arrows down range. But we'll do that. I'm going to walk you through the whole process, how I do it on the cheap. And we'll go from there. Now, one thing I do want to say, you have a lot of options for stain and for your finish. I have ordered finished arrows in the past, done with I think they call it gasket lacquer. I didn't want to mess with the dip tubes and all that, so I just bought the wipe-on polyurethane. And I'll be honest, I actually like this better than my higher priced arrows with the gasket lacquer on it. I've gotten 0 target burn from this, and I am going to put a lot of coats on there, and I'll show you that process. But I'm really enjoying this stuff. So this is all going to be one video, but I'll catch you all again tomorrow, and assuming you'll see me in a different outfit. I would hope so. I'm not doing any laundry tonight. Keep it real. Be back in a second for you. Go get some shut-eye and go to work.